Good morning and welcome to the EZFX Trading Room broadcast for Tuesday, October 11th, 2016. My name is Bradley Freed, and for the next 20 to 30 minutes, you'll be joining me for an update of yesterday's watch list. We're going to go through each trade we've been watching, or each trade we're actually in right now, and look at the charts, update the trade, talk about any management steps that need to be done, and look at any results that we've already had. And in addition to that, if there's any new trade ideas or trade setups that I want to share with you, I'm going to explain those step by step and talk about how we're going to get in those, how we're going to manage them, and what the opportunity and the risk is for each of those trades. If you have any questions during this broadcast, you're watching live, we have a chat room on this page. You can post your question. I will answer all questions live at the end of the broadcast. Alternatively, if you are watching the recording, you can send me a private message or post to the trading room group from our community settings, or you can send me an email at ezfxsignal@gmail.com, and I'll be happy to respond to any question that you might have. All right, so let's get started by just running through and reviewing the watch list from yesterday. We were watching the dollar Sing dollar on sell trade on the 1 hour chart, pound Swiss buy, pound dollar buy, euro pound sell, and Aussie pound Aussie buy on the 4 hour charts. In our new and open trades, two non-signal trades that are open are the Swiss yen sell and the euro yen sell. Our open trades as of yesterday were the Aussie dollar sell, Aussie newsy buy, which is a trend trade, the CAD yen sell, and the dollar yen sell. And as of yesterday, our only result was the pound yen stopping out last week during the pound flash crash for a loss of 150 pips. Right, so let's go ahead and jump over to the charts, and we'll take a look at where we're at right now. Go ahead and start with the new and open trades. Let's look at the Swiss yen sell and just see what that did overnight. So the Swiss yen has actually continued to drop. It looked like it was heading up towards the stop level. Now it's dropped, and it's probably heading lower. So this is starting to work out in our favor. If you got into this trade, especially as it was retracing, that was a good time to get into it. It's made a new low, and we can start to think about targets for this trade. Remember that the stop was kind of disadvantaged. So I put the stop up here at this recent high. It started to retrace towards that, but then it fell again, which is perfect. It's exactly what we want to happen. So getting into this trade initially, we needed to stop about 65 pips. And the first target is the monthly pivot at 76. You could also do the weekly pivot, but this is closer to the 50% Fibonacci retracement on this recent move. And so I'm more comfortable using that as a profit target. So let's go ahead and just mark that, since I think we can start talking about management at this point. And then we're going to think about our second profit target. And I like the fib on this. I like the 78.6% Fibonacci retracement level. My opinion on that has not changed. So we're going to set the second profit target there. As usual, if the first profit target is reached, we'll take partial profit, and we'll move our stop to break even. And then we'll try to get at least to the extension profit target on the remainder of the trade. So that is open, and it's proceeding pace. It's doing well. Euro yen sell, very similar situation. It had retraced towards its stop, which I'd set at the recent high here, and now it's dropped and made a new low. Initial profit target is the monthly pivot at 114.1050. Final profit target at the weekly pivot, if I could find it here. Here it is at 113.478. And that is open, and it's proceeding according to plan. Next, let's look at one of our signal trades, the Aussie dollar sell. We've been in this for a little while now. We opened it last week, but it seems also to be moving towards the initial profit target. And this is one of those where, due to risk reward and other factors, I had to choose a profit target further on down, and we're going to trend follow the rest beyond that. But it's made a new low. It's getting close to this weekly pivot at 0.75141, which will be our initial profit target. Once we hit that profit target, we move the stop to break even, and we take partial profit here, and we just trend follow the rest until we get a new Class A demand zone or a color change in the triangular moving average, or both. So that is still open, and it's doing exactly what we want it to do at the moment. Aussie Newsy buy trend trade. This one also made a new high overnight, and it's dropped a little bit now, but these divergence lines keep readjusting themselves as we hit new highs. We're getting very close to the initial profit target, which is right at the bottom of this supply zone here at 1.07292. Once that's hit, we'll take partial profit on the position, and then we will trend follow the rest until we see a new opposite direction Class A supply zone or a color change in the triangular moving average from blue to red, which will be our exit signal. Next, we have the CAD yen sell. Now this, we took partial profit on the position at target 1. It retraced into the break-even stop. So this is closed, and our maximum profit we enjoyed on this trade was 74 pips. So we finally, after 2 weeks of suffering through this awful market, we were able to take some profit. For which I'm very thankful. Hopefully there's many more to come in the near future. And finally, the dollar yen sell. That's our next open trade. This retraced up towards its stop, but it's sort of getting some resistance at this Class A supply zone where the trade really started. I'm hoping this will drop as the euro yen and Swiss yen have and make a new low. And so we're still in this trade. We have a sell bubble that's kind of started to form here. There's a buy bubble that signaled this gap. It gapped up on the open, retraced a bit, and then climbed back to the supply zone. If we do get another reversal here and it drops, I'll be looking to get at least to this weekly pivot again, and hopefully to our initial profit target at the monthly pivot at 101.8967. So that is also still open. I do want to scan through kind of where we're at in terms of other currency pairs. Oh, we haven't looked at our watching trades list, right? So the pound pairs are still pretty indistinct in terms of trade setups. But let's check the dollar sing dollar. That was the one we were watching. It made a new high. It's just printed a divergence line inside this zone here, which makes it a Class A. I have a feeling, though, that it's going to punch through this, and it would most likely be a trend trade opportunity if it does that. So I'm going to go ahead and mark the bubble, though. That it's made right here. And that's the first time it's made a bubble during this entire trend. So this is a very strong reversal signal. In addition, we have a new Class A signal here. If this drops and it closes below this trend line that I've drawn here, then that's an entry signal for me, and we can start talking about profit targets below that signal. The Fibonacci has moved a bit. Let's just update the trade space to the most recent high at the top of this zone. That would put our weekly pivot a little bit beyond the 50% retracement level here, and the monthly pivot a little bit in front of the 78.6% retracement level here. if and when we get an entry signal, those are the targets I'm most interested in. Probably the 50% fib level, and then the monthly pivot is what I would choose. They seem to be the most conservative, and the monthly pivot is a very reliable profit target for these kind of trades. So that's looking interesting, but still no confirmation. The pound trades we were looking at, starting with the pound Swiss. Let's just take a look at where those are at. The pound continuing to drop. I really think it's going to revisit the low made down here during the flash crash. I think that wasn't the flash crash. That was just predictive of future price. And now it's going to go down and retest those levels. Pound Swiss dropping. We're looking at all these on the 4-hour chart. If we jump over to the 1-hour chart, how does it look? Yeah, 1-hour chart also not very informative at this point in time. I think it will become more so. Right now we have basically a continuation signal. I mean, you could sell on this as a trend trade, put your stop above the supply zone, and this is more of a second chance entry situation, and you would short this. And where would your targets be? Well, you could set one target halfway down this line, and then another one right at the very bottom. It's kind of what I would do. This isn't, strictly speaking, something I'd get into. There's still potential for retracement. I'd like to see more structure around this before I would trade it, but it is an interesting idea. Pound dollar is actually going lower. Looking at this on the 1-hour chart, we see, again, it's dropped. We have a new supply zone, and it will probably continue to drop towards this low it made during the flash crash last week. Euro pound, we're continuing to rise, so the pound is also weakening on this pair. We do have a sell bubble that's appeared. It doesn't seem to be caring about that. These are very strong fundamentals moving these pairs, and a lot of emotional market reaction. The other one was the pound Aussie. That was the one I hadn't looked at yet. This is also forming a buy bubble on the 4-hour chart. On the 1-hour chart, there was a small buy bubble here before it's dropped lower. It's kind of moving sideways on this chart. I would keep watching these on the 4-hour chart. I just think that anything long-term that we want to get into based on our own trading system is going to happen most clearly on these long-term charts. We do have these buy bubbles forming and sell bubbles forming on these pairs. And I think eventually we're going to see some capitulation and retracement back towards our pivots and other technical profit targets that we use on these trades. Now the dollar South African rand has really popped up quite a bit. No setup there. Dollar peso gap down, continuing to drop. I think they're just relieved that it looks like Donald Trump won't be the next president. New Zealand dollar, no setup. Again, there's a lot of strong fundamental moves in these currencies and not a lot of setups for our system at the moment. Sometimes we have these periods of time, and the trick is just be really strict about your setups. Follow the rules to the letter. Don't use the looser version of the rules. Use the tighter version. Demand more confirmation before you get into a trade, and accept the fact that we're just going to be taking a smaller number of trades during these times until things open up and we're able to find the kind of opportunities that we look for and get the kind of win percentage that we want as well. So here's the dollar kroner. This is another one I've been watching. It's rising through the supply zone, so I want to mark it in case we'd want to take a trend trade on it. That zone may be too thick to use to set a stop, but let's see. Just how many pips is this thing? It is about 50 pips, I think. I don't think it's too bad. So we could actually trend trade this towards these other supply zones and this monthly pivot back here. I'm going to go ahead and think about getting into this, so I'll move it back to where we can get at it easily. and add it to our watch list. So let's look at it on the 4-hour chart. This is what it looks like. This pair has been dropping pretty precipitously. We had a buy bubble, a trend line break, and a color change, the triangular moving average. It's punching through this zone here, which is a second opportunity to get into the trade in the trend direction. The counter trend has become a trend trade. And then we have monthly pivot targets up here. If we were going to draw fib levels on this entire move on the 4-hour chart, it would be from here down here. That's a very large trade space. And I just kind of get rid of this smaller fib extension. Then this monthly pivot, that makes a lot of sense. That's about at the 50% level. And this other one is well in front of the 78.6 and below this large supply zone up here. So I'm going to go ahead and think about, this is the dollar kroner. Going to be a buy. And you can wait for the signal on the 4-hour just to make sure that it's really closed above that. Just be a little bit more conservative about the entry. And we might give that a try in the next few hours or the next couple of days. So that's all the updates I really have right now. There's not a lot that's changed. I think some things that we're in are proceeding. I'm hoping we'll get some more profit this week. I'm looking forward to the market kind of starting to regain some rhythm, some momentum, giving us more frequent and faster moving trades. But at this point in time, this is where we're at. So thanks very much for watching the trading room today. If you have any, let me just check if we have any live questions. At the moment, there's nobody in the live trading room. But if you do have a question, as usual, please use the community functions, contact me by posting to the trading room group or sending me a private message or sending me a regular email at ezfxsignal@gmail.com. Thanks very much for attending, and we'll be back tomorrow with another update. Take care and have a great trading day. Bye-bye.